Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the law of attraction, manifesting success stories show comes in. If you are ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and I am back with Kimberly for her second interview in our Years of Growth series. Welcome, Kimberly.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay. Tell us what's awesome.
Well, the last time I did this interview, I was in Florida. And so it's been quite a journey since then, coming back. I have moved my studio home, which actually is an amazing thing because now I can get up whenever I want and go be crafty. So I love that. And I have manifested so many things on my Manifest 10K list. As a matter of fact, I'm looking out my window right now and there's a pool in my backyard.
Yay!
Which is so cool.
That is awesome, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we had talked about what I love. I want you to share the story of the pool because when on a coaching call, it was like, okay, I know this money's coming in and you're actually the only person I have ever had or let, I think some other people would call it do two lists. So we had a business list for you, which we probably haven't talked about because you hadn't started Manifest 10K the last time we had an interview.
Right.
Yeah. So you were still working through the steps and you'd already manifested over $10,000, well over 10,000, right?
Yeah.
And so I'll back up a little bit. When we got to Manifest 10K, we spent a lot of time getting clarity in the beginning, which can sometimes feel like, why do I have to keep doing this? I want to move forward. I don't know if you ever felt like that. Did you?
I did.
Yeah.
Sometimes I was like, well, I kind of already did this. Why are we still here? But it made sense because there were things that I had already manifested that were going on my list that weren't really new, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then I had some other things that, through your coaching that I recognized that I wanted on my list. Mm-hmm. So that made a big difference. So there's a lot more clarity staying where I was figuring out those lists.
Yes, which is one of the keys to, I always talk about the slow, quick way, right? Mm-hmm. We can manifest a lot quicker if we're slower up front. And I think this is a great example because people get confused. They're like, oh, clarity means like, I need to know the exact pull and the exact this and, all these things, exactly what it's going to look like or the exact car. But it's really all the things. And for you, I'm going to call it untangling. We had to pull apart what was personal and what was business. And that led us down a path to also getting clear on, okay, well, you mentioned, things that were already happening, like, because I think you had some bills on there and it was like, well, are these already being paid? Like, why are we manifesting if they're already being paid, right?
Exactly. It's like, these are already taken care of. So why am I putting them on my list? And it was the simple thing to do. Mm-hmm. But it didn't feel fun for one. And I think getting clear about how my list felt and what I wanted on there, those bills were already taken care of, those investments. And so that was just like, I don't say like the cheating way to get what's on my list, but it just, it kind of was.
Right? Because it was already happening, right?
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think it's the cheating way. And it's also for a lot of people, it's just, we haven't upgraded the system in our mind. Like, to be aware that that's being paid. We're like, oh, I have to pay that. But it's like, oh no, it's already being taken care of. This is extra money. What am I inviting into my life that is new and extra? And where is that going to go?
Yes. And I honestly, by redoing my list that way, it opened up more space to allow even more amazing things in that I think maybe I wouldn't have been open to receive if I hadn't allowed that space to open up in the way that we did it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a big difference because things have just been falling in my lap.
Yes.
So it's been amazing.
Right. Which is so awesome. And we took it one step further with your list too, because you had originally it was like some business stuff and some personal stuff. And I said, separate it out. And then I had you actually figure out, okay, if I manifest $1,000 for this thing on my list, how much money are you going to make? Because you own an amazing craft studio and you're a crafter and you sell supplies and all of that. And so it made you figure out what you're going to make so that it could become real in your mind that, oh, when I manifest this $10,000, I'm actually manifesting thousands of dollars a month for the future as I keep growing my business and keep selling things.
Yes. And that honestly was a huge eye opener for me because I hadn't ever looked at the numbers that way. I was just looking at it as, okay, I want to spend $1,000 on glitter, but I wasn't looking at what my return on my investment was.
Right.
I was just investing in the glitter. And when I ran those numbers, it was like, wow, when I sell all of that, this is my income. And those numbers, I've never made that much money a month before looking at those figures. So that got me really excited to even recognize by investing in my business in that way that I was opening, I guess, the door to allow those opportunities to come in. Yes. So that was really huge for me.
Which is so awesome.
Yes.
It's fabulous. So let's come back to the pool. So you manifested some money and we had conversations like, okay, because you do have 2 lists. Where does it go? What should I go get? Because we've had conversations about, and it is important to invest in the things that you said, right? Because often people are like, oh, I want $10,000 for a new car, but then they go buy a bunch of other stuff and then they still don't have a car that runs or however that works, right? And so we had conversations about that. And so being a good student, you're like, what should I invest in? And we kind of went through it and put it where it went. And we said, but it's also okay to get comfortable having the money and to follow inspiration when to buy it, right? And so do you want to tell the pool story?
Yes. So I have this money coming in and it's been trickling in. I'm waiting for the big deposit. And it was funny because I knew what type of pool I wanted. It wasn't a particular name brand. It was mostly just the shape of it because it would fit perfectly in my backyard. Well, I had priced it out at one place. I'm like, okay, this is how much money it's going to cost me. Well, then I was outpricing something else and my husband had to use the restroom. And if he hadn't have had to use the restroom, I wouldn't have gone to that section of the store to even see that they had pools, which I didn't even know that they carried pools. So we're walking back there and there is one pool left. It is the exact pool that I wanted, not realizing that at the time it was the brand and everything. And it was $300 cheaper than where I had thought I was going to purchase it. So I'm like, this is my pool. I'm purchasing it today. And I was, so everybody's like, you're doing what? And I'm like, this is the pool. I'm saving $300. And now that $300 I get to put towards the water that's going to fill it up. So it was just so organic and just so funny that it happened the way that it did.
Yes. It's awesome. So, I love it.
And now I look out my window and I see my pool. And I think every morning when I get on my assignments, that's one of the things I say is I look out my window and I look at the space that is going to hold my pool. And now today I look out my window and there's my pool. So
there it is.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yes, I love it. I think we touched on this last time, but you had done Manifest 10K twice on your own before.
Yes.
Right?
Actually, I had. Yep.
So what's the biggest difference doing it, on your own and following the steps versus doing it with coaching? What have you seen?
I've seen bigger numbers.
That's fun.
Yes. And I don't know if I shared this the last time, but when I manifested the 10,000 the first 2 times, I got laid off and my unemployment amounts came to $10,000. So that was very interesting to me, but then it didn't go any further than that. Like I manifested the $10,000 and then I didn't really go, I guess, do the work as far as like my lists. Like I kind of had a list what I would do with $10,000.
Yes.
But then I didn't honor it when that money was coming in. So I think that has made a huge difference. Having a coach, being able to, talk about, okay, well, this money's coming in. What do I do with it? And I have all these little jars. I'm looking at them right now. All these little jars of where I've been putting my change in and divvying up all the money that's been coming in. And pretty soon I'm going to be down to like 3 jars. because I've manifested all the things on my list. So it's just a matter of, again, waiting and choosing when I'm going to invest in that, because I do enjoy opening up my bank account and seeing the money sitting there and knowing that I can invest in those things when I want to. Like, I have a choice.
Yes.
And that's made a huge difference, because before I could manifest, but then it just stopped after that. I did the 10,000 and then that was it. Now I'm manifesting way more than I ever thought possible.
Right.
And it,
6 times 10,000 and growing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think we talked about that on the last one, is that we were going to, I was going to be like to 50,000.
Yes.
I've surpassed that number.
You've surpassed that in less than 2 months. Cause I think it was around the $30,000 mark. Yeah.
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 Which is so awesome. How does it feel when you look at that number?
Well, to be honest with you, that's like double what I would make in a year working full time. And that's not including the drive time. So in 2 months, doubling like a yearly income, that's amazing. Like, who does that?
Yes.
I do.
You do. Yes. You get to say that now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And to me, I never thought I'd be able to say that. I mean, that's the miracle of all of this. It's when you show up and you do the work and you have the coaching, it makes a huge difference. I mean, I did it on my own. Yeah. But now I'm doing so much more than I ever thought possible. And it's all thanks to you.
Yay. Well, you too, because you're doing the work.
Oh, yes.
If there's no work to look at, I don't have anything to do.
Well, yes.
Which is fun. It's fun to watch growth, and it's fun to be a part of it and see what's opened up for you, which is amazing. Yes. And I think we're at 3 months right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And you are about halfway through the last trimester of Manifest 10K. And so you're not even done yet. And your total is $62,370.71.
Yes, exactly.
Which is awesome.
So I'm like so much closer to $100,000. I'm more than halfway there.
You are way more than halfway there.
Which with last interview, I was halfway to 60.
That's right.
$100,000 is totally possible.
Yes. Look at you. See, this is what happens when we start writing new money stories. And it's why I have you guys look to that next amount and that next amount, because once you get on the unless you get off the train consciously, it's going to keep going and going and going.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
That
I
is
love
amazing.
it.
And I hadn't thought of that until we were just talking about it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
what
it.
does that number, what does it make you feel about your business, or know about your business, or see what's possible in your business?
Well, it's interesting we're talking about my business today, because I kind of had a breakthrough yesterday. And I feel like today it's totally possible to have a successful business. If you'd asked me that 3 days ago, I don't know that I could have said that and felt more confident about it. Like, I could have said it, but not really believed it. Today, after what happened yesterday, and looking at just my personal numbers, like that list, it's like, it's totally possible now. And I'm thankful that I show up and I do the assignments, because it helps me grow and recognize that I can do this. Like, anything is possible. Everything's possible. And so to me, it's still, even like, I can't find the words. It's like, I'm kind of speechless, because it's like, wow, like I used to have dreams before, but I guess maybe they didn't seem possible. And today they do, knowing that I can have a successful business and be that businesswoman that I want to be.
Yes. Yay. That's awesome. So I'm curious, because this is so new and fresh, and I think sometimes we forget, which is a good thing. But what before Like when you started your business, like, did you think about it being successful, or did you, I think we've talked about it before. Part of it was like, oh, I can craft if I have a business. Like that kind of makes it okay.
Yes. So
Right.
it was because I love being crafty.
Mm-hmm.
That was my way of saying, it was giving myself permission to be crafty.
Mm-hmm.
And not recognizing that could be a business. Like it was, I just didn't even see that. It was my way of just being, able to craft.
Mm-hmm.
And if I made money with it, great, because then maybe it gave me permission to continue to craft.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of validated it to other people in my life that, hey, look, I brought in some money. I made some t-shirts, not recognizing that this is truly my passion and it's okay to get paid for that and to make that my business. So it's totally different from where I started my business. My business was, this is what I want to do because, I thought it would give me more freedom. I could work when I wanted to. And part of being creative is there are days where you wake up and you're like, yeah, I don't want to do that project anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm like, so now I have the opportunity to, and I think too, with coaching, it's helped me get clarity about what it is I want to create. And I don't know that I would have gotten there as easily as I have without being in the Enchanted Circle.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. Because I was just doing everything, like anything that would make a buck.
Right.
Whether I enjoy doing it or not. Right. I mean, because t-shirts, they're not my favorite thing. And I still do them.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do them full time. Unless I had different equipment. But I don't want to invest in that equipment. So it doesn't make sense to do that. So I've given myself permission to only do t-shirt orders if I want to.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So someone's like, hey, can you do 2 t-shirts? I'm like, and I have to really check in with myself. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have time, but let me refer you to somebody.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's empowering to do that. Because I'm not looking at it as I have to make, what is it? Whatever I would make on a t-shirt, maybe $15, and so it's like, I can choose to not do that. It's not about the money anymore where the t-shirts is concerned.
Yes. I mean, it's really, there's a lot of things. It's not about the money anymore, right? Because you're recognizing that there's a value beyond the money that actually creates more money, right?
Yes.
Like if you love it, it creates more. Cause you actually, we talked about, I know that we talked about the scrapbooking opportunity that came up a couple months ago, and it got put off because it is May 2020. And so nobody was getting together, checking in on things. But once it was time, tell us what happened when the interview came back around.
Yes. So the interview came back around. And so during one of our Enchanted Circle calls, I'm like, I wasn't going to ask the question, but I did. And I'm like, Cassie, it doesn't feel like, I'm not excited about it. I think in the very beginning, I was excited to recognize or to see that people would pay me $25 an hour to do scrapbooking, because I didn't even know that was a thing.
Right.
And by the time we got to the interview part, and again, and this is how it works out, but they canceled again. So, and they haven't rescheduled, which I'm like totally okay with. But it's just amazing to me that I recognized, just because they were going to pay me $25 an hour, which sounds like that's a decent amount an hour, but I wasn't excited about the job itself. And so I could choose to not do that. And that was huge, because when they first started, I probably wouldn't have turned the job down because it was $25 an hour to do scrapbooking.
Right.
But scrapbooking isn't really my passion. So then $25 didn't sound like a whole lot of money to do something that I didn't really want to do.
Right. Yes. Oh, I love that. And when as you're retelling it, I'm connecting this. I think this is when it's really opened up to some other things, like the journals in your life, sort of.
Yes.
The more you said no to that, or the more you came to that clarity, like the more the journal path has opened up, which is something. Yes. Yeah. that you were, because you make amazing journals, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And she's made some for Manifest It Now events, and opening up that door. Like when you shut down what you don't want, it really opens that path to what you do want.
Yes. And remembering that, I think that is key. Because when you shut down something that you don't want, remembering that it's going to open the doors for the things that you really do want, that's huge. And
Yes.
having the clarity about journals, I have loved pens and journals since I was a little girl. Like I have,
Yes.
if you went through my house, I have journals and pens everywhere. And I'm really funny about my pens. I don't like to share them. So this to me, it brings me excitement, and I'm passionate about it. And it just feels so good to have the clarity that, yes, I want to do these. This project over here, this is what I want to do. And I don't know that I would have gotten there again without the coaching and recognizing that I didn't want the scrapbooking job. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually reach out to me again, but
right.
maybe for a new project. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. And I think that was the other thing in the beginning too of that project was like, oh, this might open the door to something else that I do want with them, and thinking you had to take the job because, oh, it'll give me the opportunity. And now you're just creating your own opportunities. Like you're just choosing to do what you love instead of waiting on someone else to give you the opportunity to do what you love.
Ah, I like that. I hadn't made that connection. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah.
That's big.
It is big. That's where the magic happens, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. That is amazing. Wow. So because I really thought that the scrapbooking job was about getting my foot in the door. So I was going to have to do something I didn't really want to do to get to do something, to get to that point where I could do something that I really wanted to do.
Yes.
What's the fun in that? Who wants
right?
to do that? Not me.
Right? I know. That is not you anymore for sure.
No.
Yeah.
Wow. That's huge. I love these because I always get something like, I feel like I connected the dots, and yet there's always this one little piece that just comes floating in, and it's always
it's always amazing. Yeah.
Huge light bulb. Wow.
Yes. I know, it's awesome. That's why I do these for those people listening, but also for you guys, because connecting those dots and talking about it in a different way and looking at it, this gives you the opportunity to step outside yourself a little bit and talk about it, looking at it like I look at it, as, or through a different set of eyes. And so you get to make those connections in a different way.
Yes. And that, I think also with the phone call yesterday, that really helps today, because I went and did the thing.
Yay.
That I had been avoiding. And so that just makes perfect sense to hear that today, that it's opened up these new doors, and I don't have to do things I don't want to do in the hopes of getting the opportunity to do the things I want to do. I can choose to do them now, today.
Yes. Yay.
So,
which I want to dive a little more into that, because there was an inspiration in this journey very early, I think, in Manifest 10K, because it's been like a month now, I think it's been a month since you realized it. But early in the Manifest 10K process, that you're like, I don't need a studio. I don't need to pay for a studio. I don't want to drive to a studio. I don't want to, all the things that comes with, right?
Yes. And which is very interesting, because I think I was stuck in this mindset that I had to have a brick and mortar. This is how you do business. This is the steps you have to do. I mean, I guess like I was living by a set of rules, but they weren't my rules.
Right.
So coming to that conclusion of, moving my studio to my house, and I'm still working at, like, I don't know how all that looks, but that's okay. But I don't have the overhead now, and I can still create these amazing things and still have a successful business.
Yeah.
and I think and again, it's not even figuring it out. It's opening up that space to allow those opportunities to come in and pursuing them if I want to, which is, it's totally different than doing it because I have to.
Mm-hmm.
Or because
you don't have to do anything, right? Because you don't have to pay rent. You don't, in the studio, right? So automatically, and there's nothing wrong with the brick and mortar, but for you, it, in some ways it created this like, oh, I have to do this much money to pay those bills. So I have to, it's the same pattern as the craft, right? Like I have to do this part to get to what I really love. And now what you can do is do what you really love, and it's all profit.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And when I first opened the studio, people would send me messages, oh, you should do this class or you should do that class. And so I was doing everything. And I got to the point where I'm like, but I don't really like doing that. It was all about, again, earning that money to pay those investments, whether it was rent, my utilities, whatever. And of course, having a family, you want to bring money in. So I had all these different things going on with that. And it was kind of fun, but it's more fun now that it's at home.
Yes.
Yeah. And if I was really honest with myself, that's what I wanted to begin with. I wanted a home studio. It just took me a year and not quite a year and a half to figure that out, but that's okay. Cause I'm here now. There's definitely some learning things along the way. And I don't know that I would have recognized it as soon as I, did if I hadn't been in the Enchanted Circle. Because there I can show up and I can be honest. And it's not that I'm not honest in my real life, but I show up, I don't say more vulnerable, but I just show up because I want to live the best life. And I feel like showing up and doing the work I get so much more out of it than only, like putting my toe in the sand or, does that make sense? Putting your toe in the water. Like
just like dipping it a little bit. Yeah. Which is a thing that happens when we have a space like this. And when we know, in essence, like someone's going to catch us, right? Like we'll jump in the pool when we're little, if we know someone, when we're learning how to swim, if we know someone's going to catch us, but otherwise we're just going to dip our toe. And that's what happens sort of when we're like trying to do it on our own. Often we don't want to dip our toe, but there's like, what if I uncover something I don't know how to get out of, right? And what I mean by get out of is like, oh, what if I see I don't really want a studio, but I don't see another way to make that work, or I don't see a different path and I need someone to walk me through that or to help me see the answer, right?
Yep. And I think that's been all the difference because, and I think for me also, it's like there were some old stories that came in if I closed my brick and mortar. And those don't exist now because I made a choice to move my studio home because that was what was best for me. And that's what I wanted. And I don't know that I would have gotten that clarity if I hadn't showed up in the Enchanted Circle.
Yes.
So, and it truly is a space that you are, not just with Cassie, but the other women in the group. I am so blessed with you and the women in there because it truly is a space to just dive in and put it all out there and get the guidance that you need. And sometimes it's not fun.
That is true.
Cassie catches me. But that's what I need. And I'm just, it's a great space. So.
Yeah, I love that. It's amazing. And it is the space, right? And because there's a difference both when you have a coach, but also when you can show up in front of other people, because it's a practice ground for real life. Like when you can show up in front of other people, then it's like, okay, like they're okay. Even though they're safe, then I can take it out into the world, right? I can do it in the world too. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is so fun. Yeah. I love that. So I am really quickly, because by the time you do your next interview, you're probably going to do your first future self workshop.
Yay.
I know. So tell me what you're looking forward to. Tell me about just what you're thinking about that at this point.
Well, I get excited because when we get on the calls,
Mm-hmm.
you check in with people and it's so-and-so, how's your future self showing up today? I'm excited to answer that question. And I'm looking forward to that. And it sounds so simple and silly,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm excited about that question in the mornings.
Yes.
How is your future self showing up today? She's showing up
Yay.
confident. Whatever that may be. And I'm excited because I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I can kind of touch it. It's like there, and I'm ready to step into who she is. And I don't know exactly who she is yet, but I'm excited to learn more about her and step into her. So if that makes sense.
Yes, that is awesome. I'm excited about that too. Tell everybody where they can find your craft studio, how they can connect with you and learn more and all that fun stuff.
So I am on Facebook. So it's facebook.com/spunkycraftstudio. I also have a page where you can join from the Facebook page. It's called Spunky Crafter. And I go back and forth and do live videos between there. And then I also have a website that is www.spunkycraftstudio.com. And that is always a work in progress. But you can find glitter and vinyl, and pretty soon I'll be launching my journals and pen sets. So super excited.
Yay, that's awesome. And for sure when this interview comes out, those will be live, so go check them out.
Yes.
I love it. Any final thoughts or words that you want to say today as we wrap up?
All I can say is if you've been on the fence about joining the Enchanted Circle or working with Cassie, I say do it. Like jump in, don't dip your toes, jump in because she will catch you. And it's been life-changing and I am forever grateful. So
Yay.
Do it.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for sharing this moment in your journey with all of us. I am super excited to continue to watch it unfold. So thank you. And thank you all for listening. Make sure to come back and check out what else is awesome in Kimberly's life next time.
I love helping people manifest money because when you're learning to use the law of attraction, money is such a great tool. It gives such instant feedback. There's so many opportunities to see how the energy is flowing through you and where you might be getting tripped up or not allowing it to come in. So if you've had trouble manifesting in the past, you might want to use money as a way to learn how to use the law of attraction. Now, I have helped thousands of people manifest millions of dollars using my system Manifest 10K. And now I would love to invite you to join me complimentary and pay based on your success. You heard me right. You can join, get access to my very successful program, the Enchanted Circle, and most of all, my coaching for when you get stuck. And then you can pay me 10% of what you manifest after you're successful. If this sounds good to you, go to payafteryoumanifest.com to apply. That's payafteryoumanifest.com.
Thank you for joining us on the Law of Attraction Manifesting Success Stories show. To learn how to attract more money into your life, go to your favorite book retailer and order Cassie's book, Manifest $10,000.